Hi everybody. So today I was just doing the thing that stinks about going live is that you don't get the recordings of it. So I wanted to kind of do my hooks so I can show what I do behind the scenes of it. I'm a beginner learning how to make stained glass, so they're a little bit sloppy, but I'm calling this my Summerween collection. I tried to do, I didn't have enough time to let this sit for 24 hours. I know that you're supposed to do like that E6000 glue when you attach little overlays of it, but it didn't end up working out. So I'm gonna wash this, clean it up, and then add that later. But I added hooks on a little cauldron. This will eventually be a little spell book and a potion bottle. And because I have a couple other ones that I have to solder, I thought I would come on live and just solder them for a couple of minutes. I don't think this will be a very long live. I'm prepping to do a live where I show every step of the process. I'm just gonna turn my soldering iron back on. So I'm prepping to do a live where I do every step of the process, showing the pattern, tracing, cutting, soldering, patining, every step, and it's taking a little bit longer of prep time that I had originally planned on. So I've been also kind of going on and doing that as well. I don't have my laptop out here, so I can't really see comments if anybody is on, but I am just going to probably make this after I stop telling my introduction, make this like an AMSR, which is basically where I don't talk and I just solder. It'll probably be a quick one. And yeah, I shouldn't have put my glove on so early, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna stand back, solder, and get this going. It's very windy out right now. Storms are coming. So if it's really loud, that's all it is. And then because the tinning process takes a lower temperature off screen, I'm just changing the temperature of my soldering iron to about 480 Fahrenheit. And then I'll tin the edges before I do the, or I'm sorry, for tinning I do about 500, 510, and for beaded edge, I'll do it a little bit lower. And I probably have to tin my tip before I do that as well. Because I know my temperature is going to be a little bit different, I'll just do the beaded edge all at once actually. Just going to put on my heat resistant gloves, which you should probably use the entire time, but I find that it kind of restricts what I'm doing, so I don't. But if you need it for safety reasons, absolutely use it. And then I turn down my soldering iron. I'm going to tin my tip first, and then I'll turn down my soldering iron to about 480, because that seems to be the sweet spot for being able to actually pick up the solder and do my beaded edge with the Weller. I don't know if it's different on different soldering irons. I have a Weller 70 watt, which is not really recommended for stained glass, but I didn't know that when I got it. I thought I was getting the Hacko that everybody recommends. And it turns out it was not. You definitely do not want to breathe any of that in. As you can see how windy it is with all of the stuff going out here. Always do this in like a well ventilated area and move away if you have to. And so then I just lower my temperature again to about 480 Fahrenheit, which seems to be the sweet spot for my solder. And a lot of people have little jigs to kind of hold your piece while you're doing this. I don't. So I just kind of hold it and try to do my best with working with the gravity, which is not always easy. This is a good angle. if you move too fast while you're doing that, it will definitely bobble over, fall off the sides, all of that stuff, because it hasn't cooled fully. We'll get a lot of ripple effects, which I still move too fast, but getting a little bit better about it. So fairly easy when you are doing smaller pieces. And then you can go up and raise your heat on the temperature and fix those lines where maybe some solder dripped off, or you didn't really clean them up properly the first time. Those little ripples in them. Oops. And I wasn't really planning on it during this one, but I'm just gonna add the hooks on here because I don't know if I'm gonna get to soldering the other cauldron that I have on here. I'm just gonna do the hooks and see how it goes. I don't have a setup for it where, just trying to figure out where I want my hooks. I want it over there and over here. A lot of people have some sort of jig or something to hold up the hooks when you're attaching them. I don't have anything. Everything's a little bit too thick. If I use glass, it's too much heat on there. So I am just gonna do it and hope for the best that it goes a little bit smoothly while I'm on the live. And I also normally use a thicker copper wire than the one that I'm using right now. But I thought that this would be a little bit easier to work with on these smaller pieces. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but this wire is more flexible, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because when you're working with it, you can bend it a lot easier, which can work in your favor or against you. And today I was doing this earlier and it was working against me. So all that I'm doing is I'm taking my copper wire, finding something round to wrap it around, kind of crossing them over, and then use your tools, your pliers, and just twist them together. And you want them to be about even in length. The biggest thing is that you want your tail to be flat. So take your pliers and go over and make them flat. And then you want it to be flush with your loop. Cut off the excess, and then you're kind of left with that. Go over it again and make it flat on the bottom there, because it will definitely peel up on you a little bit. But being flush is important, and being flat. And when I say flush, I mean the tail flush with the loop. And we're just gonna go for it and hope that I don't completely embarrass myself, which is entirely possible. And like I said, most people have some sort of jig to help hold up the wire. Ooh, that went on smoothly. And I'll go back and I'll fix it too, smooth it out a little bit. All that good stuff, which is usually where all the problems come into play, because as soon as you heat up the solder, the wire falls and it's a balance game. I'm going to attempt to kind of cover this, which is when I would use these down here to just hold it into place a little bit, because that's going to heat up and do like it just did. But as you can see, it's not flush and level, so you kind of just gotta keep messing around with it. They went on so smoothly just a second ago. I'm gonna pull this off and reevaluate. So it definitely helps when you have something to hold it up. And because I don't want to burn myself, I'm going to put my glove back on. kind of dump some of the solder off the side, or hope to rough it off like that. And that's why you wear your glove, because it splatters everywhere and you don't want that to hit your skin. And then I just go through and kind of tin the rest of it. People buy pre-tinned copper as well. I just never did. I think eventually I will. I don't mind tinning it. But some people just hate it. And again, you just gotta work with gravity the best that you can. Don't need a ton over here. Hope that this stays on. And then again, you just go through. See, that one was so much smoother than the first one. And then you just go through and kind of tin it. And if you get like little globs, you just wipe them off. They'll fall off. You know, that's when you use gravity to kind of pull them. Just make sure you get in all the little corners, which can be a little bit tedious, so I do understand why people use pre-tinned copper. And sometimes it squeaks a little bit and it's not the best noise. That one went on very smoothly, I must say. I'm very happy about that. And then you can go in and kind of clean up some of those spots that may have gotten a little bit messy. Yeah. So, I think I'm gonna call it for today. I know it was a really, really short live. Honestly, I don't even know why I came on the live. I was just over here foiling, soldering some stuff, and I thought I would do it. But I'm gonna go wash these, get it ready, prepped for patina, and then waxed, and we'll be ready to go. See you next time.